Let's start off now. You have your Savindra Singh climatology with you, please. And the question we will discuss now. So I'm sharing my screen with all of you. So next question we are discussing is discuss fogs as hazards. Share some of your insights for fog and smog management. Okay, so now for this question, itna clarity hai na? This question is not asking you what are the reasons for fogs. Okay, most of us know. So the jo generic answers hain, say if I try a generic answer, most of you will do what? What are fogs? Fogs are low level condensation. Fogs are clouds at the ground level. Fogs are because of advection. Fogs because of up slope cooling related to radiation. Okay, fogs may be related to air mass interaction. Okay, so you know the types of fogs. Types of fogs pata hai? We have got radiation fogs. How do we have radiation fogs? How are radiation fogs formed? So if the land becomes very cold, okay, there is very fast loss of energy, very cold, and the air in contact also becomes cold, and the moisture here will start condensing. जो winter fogs होते हैं generally near the surface is because of this type. So this is an example of a radiation fog. ये winters में होता है, ये deserts में भी होता है. Okay, and then we have advection fogs where a cold air can move over warm, or okay, warm air can move over the cold. Either ways, we can have advection fogs. Okay, this is a possibility. We can have fogs because of mountain and sea breeze. Okay, so this is the valley, mountain breeze. The air starts sinking down. The cold air comes here, or यहाँ पर अगर कोई river होगा, so I can have this. This also is an example of advection fogs. Okay, where mountain breeze in the night time can cause fogs. Okay, yes, ये जो cold air and warm air वाला कहानी, advection fogs, this is one type of example of advection fog. ये second type of example of advection fog. ये third type of example. एक fourth भी है. If there is a cold current mixing with warm current, the cold air above it and the warm air above it, these can mix. So this area can have fogs. Typically what we have in the Newfoundland. Okay? Have you heard about upslope fogs? ये mountains में होते हैं. How are upslope fogs formed? These are formed in the daytime. We have got air is rising and it is cooling. So when air is rising and cooling, the moisture in that air can start to condense, and this can become a fog. Fog in contact with the ground. Ground यहाँ पर क्या है? This is your surface here. Yes. ये हर mountain में you have typically seen no sketches. Mountain ऐसे बना होगा. The clouds here, there are clouds here. ये clouds नहीं है, actually fogs हैं. Okay. This happens when air is rising, when we have the valley breeze. Remember, this is not same as air evaporation or instability, air rising and cooling. This becomes the clouds. ये अलग चीज है. I'm talking about air is rising along the slopes. This is the valley breeze. ठीक है? So ये अलग question. यहाँ पर question क्या है? Discuss fogs as hazards. Okay, hazards, and tell us what we can do for fog management. So the answer here is, will not go by the generic answer. Let's start off. Okay, we'll start with introduction. Iska introduction kaise hoga? Okay, so now see, introduction should be something around what is being asked. Okay, fogs are dense condensation along the surface, winters, and in urban areas, fogs can become a major traffic hazard. Fogs, when mixed with pollutants, can become a serious health hazard. This is like introduction. Then we can have a box. आप बताओ इस box में क्या डालना चाहोगे आप? Because you have to give the examiner a sense of कि okay, he knows the subject. So nice hoga if आधे वाले में we can discuss types of fogs. Talk about radiation fogs. Talk about upslope fogs. Mention advection fogs, and two lines there dena. Okay, mixing of cold and the warm currents, advection, Newfoundlands. And on this side, you can always talk about some data related to recent fog hazards. So we have International Meteorological Organization has warned incidences of fogs can increase by more than 50% related to extreme winter cooling in the high and mid latitudes. So I've kind of set the benchmark of what I will discuss. And now I can move on towards what are the examples of fogs as hazard. Remember, this is a 10-mark question. We don't want to go more than 1.5 or maximum 2 pages. Okay, 80-100 word में लिखना. Example of fogs as hazards. Now, fogs as hazards. So, number one, you can talk about urban areas and fogs in the open transport networks along expansive agriculture fields can be a major traffic hazard. Have heard about increased accidents along the expressways? Heard about that? So what happens is there is a road here, okay, एकदम open area है और यहाँ पर agriculture land है, खेत है यहाँ पर winters में. Because of irrigation, yes, irrigation, this area is moist. So in open areas में, you can have lot of fogs along these expressways, lot of fogs along these fast corridors. So example इसका ये होगा Yamuna Expressway. Okay, we have seen lot of fogs in this areas. Or you can talk about highways along the rivers, highways along the coastal stretches, even in the mountains, absolutely. In the mountains also. Okay, so fogs, again, basically traffic hazards. So example jo diya, this makes your answer more relevant to what's happening around. And all of you, I'm sure you have seen fogs in the winters. Please mention some highway in your region. आपको पता होगा ना, जो दिल्ली, गुड़गांव वगैरह से हैं, NH8 बोल लो, NH24 बोल लो, NH49 बोल लो, NH1 बोल लो. Okay, mention whatever you know. ठीक है? Every one of you, you come from some areas where you have seen fogs along the highways. Mention that highway itself. Ek paragraph mein you are done with that. सेकेंड, अगेन अर्बन एरियाज में जो स्मॉग का प्रॉब्लम, देयर इज increased incidences of smog problems related to three type of emissions. एक कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड है, सल्फर सॉक्स है, एंड नॉक्स, प्लस यू ऑल्सो हैव डस्ट एंड aerosols, particulate matter, more than 10 microns, or around 10 microns में, this can cause serious breathing hazards. And you know about, no, in the top 10 most polluted cities of the world में इंडिया के 3 cities हैं, दिल्ली है, कानपुर है, पटना, so pick up 4. Gurgaon, absolutely, yes, Gurgaon hai. So breathing problems, and you can always mention that Delhi NCR has additional problems because of smogs related to stubble burning. Yes, इसका consequence है breathing problems, asthmatic attacks, more sensitive breathing problems. So one paragraph on that. Remember, I'm talking about fogs as hazards, urban area. इसके अलावा in agriculture areas, fog are associated with, number 1, frost bites in plants. If you know about Mistral related fogs can lead to failure of grape farms. Mistral fogs, these are essentially mountain breeze. The cold air will accumulate here, and you have got fogs here, and this is associated with failure of grape farms. This happens along river Rhone basin in France. उसके अलावा second is that incidences of fogs can also cause fungal infection in plants. जैसे 2018 and 2019 में mustard harvest in Punjab was lesser. एक third related aspect भी है that fog can result in lesser pollination. A simple thing, your insects, bees, butterflies, they cannot see the flowers. They cannot see the source of the nectars. It can result in lesser pollination. In fact, in recent times, because of fogs, Mediterranean region agriculture in the winters has recorded low productivity. ठीक है? इसके अलावा एक और प्रॉब्लम है as hazards. Fogs can result in suspension of pesticides and chemicals in the air. The too much of droplets, and you are spraying chemicals, you're spraying pesticides. So because a lot of droplets here, when you are spraying, those droplets will remain in the air for a longer time. Okay? एक तो plants को आपका मिला नहीं pesticide, and this in result is also toxic. So this can cause again a major health hazard. ठीक है? And don't forget about the most common है, fogs on the oceans, fogs on the seas. This can impact fishing. This can impact a sea line navigation. Give the example of, कुछ नहीं याद है तो कम से कम आपको पता ही है ना, Newfoundland fogs तो आपको पता ही है. Write about that. Titanic is a good example of Titanic because of the Arctic smoke, cold Arctic air moving over the warm okay, North Atlantic waters. Okay, now, उसके बाद जो ऐड करना है करो. Now we'll talk about, say, don't forget the second part of the answer. We also have management of fogs. So as a part of interventions, now we want to deal with how to solve the problems of fogs. So officially, fogs are not classified as major disasters and therefore not managed under disaster management plans. Officially, fogs को classify नहीं करते हैं under the major disasters. Floods हैं, droughts हैं, urban fire है, tsunami है, cloud bursts हैं, landslides हैं. We have got those industrial mishaps, nuclear mishaps. So all of that comes under disasters. Cyclones, tornadoes are disasters. Heat waves are disasters. But fogs को अभी भी we are not classifying them under major disasters. That's why they are not accounted for under disaster management plan, but there are many methods for dispersing fogs. The most common and cheap method that we have, or cost-effective method that we have, is spraying water. If you spray water, the smogs and the fogs will settle down. It's like, artificially you are trying to create the conditions where the fogs can settle down. This is a very common method that we have. Okay. Another common method that we have is in certain specific pockets, rotor fans are used. Sometimes they bring helicopters. जैसे कि अगर आपका airports में problems होता है, so what happens is you have this helicopter with you. So when the helicopter blade starts rotating, the blade will force the winds to go down and that will settle the fogs. So ये rotor fans हैं. These are very commonly used in airports. But in recent times, they also use fog seeding. Now see, essentially what they're trying to do is, they're trying to induce the Bergeron process of rapid condensation. So what are you going to add? You're going to add some kind of an ice crystal. You're going to add what's called as freezing nuclei. And what is preferred? They use calcium chloride. They also use dry ice. Sometimes even we spray salts also. But calcium chloride and dry ice, these are the more preferred ones. Okay. And that ways, they're able to create a kind of very low level artificial rains for fogs to disperse. We also have smog towers, where the particulate matters are forced to settle down and precipitate. Do mention smog towers also. Okay, and what do you want to write in conclusion? Basically, we'll say climate change and modifications of surfaces, change in the natural moisture budget, will result in more and more fogs. There is also a lot of modification of the surfaces, like the more pavements you make, the more concretization we do. This will increase the radiational losses. Changes in the natural moisture budget. Think of irrigation that we are doing. Think of more and more gardening in the urban areas that we are doing. So you're changing the moisture, natural moisture budget. This will result in more fogs. Okay. Hence the need to apply more preventive methods. Okay. But there are also technologies for fog-based traffic management. Have you heard about airports में वो Cat 3 radars? Have you heard about this? और Cat 3 compatible aircrafts. Have you heard about this? काफी न्यूज में रहता है. A lot of airports in India have now converted themselves into Cat 3 compatible. The instrument landing systems where the computer can take over from the pilots. So these are frog-based navigation management systems. But overall, the best method is that we have to go for preventive methods for fog management. Okay? So this is good enough for an answer on fogs. Generally, what happens is when the visibility drops to less than 50 meters, then it becomes a severe hazard. But when the visibility drops less than 100 or 150 meters, this is moderate to severe hai. And if the visibility of the fogs is more than 1 kilometer, then it is fine weather. Okay, I think this topic is done. Fogs management and hazard.